Hello everyone, Prosperity here. The Legion is coming, and with it, a whole slew of changes to the game. This series is here to cover all the changes that have been made to each class and specialization to help you better understand how everything works. Welcome to the Advanced Combat Overview for the Affliction Warlock in Legion. Before we start things off, please take a moment to pause this video and watch the core combat overview for Affliction, as it lays the groundwork for what I'll be going over in this video. I'll put a link on screen and in the description below. Now that we're on the same page, let's get going. This video will be broken up into two parts, one for passives and one for cooldowns at the core of the spec. Your core passives are your Mastery, Potent Afflictions, Secrets of the Necrolite, and Soul Leech. The core cooldowns are Demonic Gateway, Ritual of Summoning, Soulstone, Summon Doomguard, Summon Infernal, and Unending Resolve. Let's get going with your core passives, shown on screen here. These passives don't really affect how your abilities work together, but they greatly increase the effectiveness of some of your core abilities. Your Mastery, Potent Afflictions increases the damage done by your Agony, Corruption, and Unstable Affliction spells by a baseline 25%, increasing with the Mastery stat on your gear. This also affects the Corruption granted by your Seed of Corruption, since the explosion applies Corruption to all nearby enemies. This passive gives priority to these spells over all others in combat. Secrets of the Necrolite increases the damage, but not the healing, of your Drain Life spell by 200%. While this is a grossly substantial increase in power for the spell, it is still dwarfed by the damage you can do with your other core combat spells, but is a nice bonus for when you have nothing else going on. Soul Leech is a purely defensive passive that grants you and your pets a shield. Any single target damage done by you or your pets adds to the shield, absorbing 10% of the damage done for 15 seconds, adding up to no more than 15% of your maximum health. Moving on to your core cooldowns, shown on screen here. There is a solid mix of abilities available to you, and learning when to use them can mean the difference between a wipe and a kill. Demonic Gateway was mentioned in the previous video and is more of a utility spell, but the effect has a long cooldown, so we'll go over it here. Setting up your Demonic Gateway takes a 2.5 second cast, creating two structures, one where you're standing and another up to 40 yards away from you. The structures can be clicked on by yourself and any group members. Anyone that clicks on it will be sent to the other structure instantly. Teleporting like this can only happen every 1.5 minutes, so be sure to plan out when you'll need to use it in an encounter. Ritual of Summoning is incredibly useful for getting a large group of people to a particular place quickly. The spell cannot be cast in combat, but is still really cool. Casting this will create a summoning portal, requiring 2 additional party members to complete the cast. All they have to do is click on it. Once the portal is created, the spell cannot be cast again for 2 minutes, but you can use it as a summoning stone to summon other members of your group. Soulstone is what is known as a Battle Resurrection. This spell has a 10-minute cooldown and a 2.5 second cast time, and can be cast on yourself or a group member. Casting this spell will allow whoever you cast it on to resurrect instantly, even in combat, with 60% of their health and 20% of their mana. This cannot be cast on a dead target, so you will need to plan out who will need it the most before a fight begins. Summon Doomguard is one of your 2 greater demon summons, and these summons share their cooldown. This spell costs 1 soul shard to cast and has a baseline 2-second cast time and cooldown of 3 minutes. Once summoned, the Doomguard will fire Doom Bolts at the target you cast it on for 25 seconds. The Doomguard also has an added effect for your command demon spell if you've taken the Grimoire of Supremacy, which I'll talk about in the next video over talents. Summon Infernal is the other greater demon summons and cannot be cast if Summon Doomguard is on cooldown. This spell also costs 1 soul shard to cast, but is instant cast, still with a 3-minute cooldown. Summoning the Infernal requires targeting an area on the ground. When cast, the Infernal will slam down on the enemies in the targeted area, dealing fire damage to them and stunning all enemies affected for 2 seconds. After that, the Infernal will attack your target for 25 seconds, also dealing AoE damage to all enemies around it. Summoning the Infernal with Grimoire of Supremacy also has an added effect for your command demon spell, but again I'll go over those details in the next video. Unending Resolve is your main defensive cooldown. It's an instant cast spell with a 3-minute cooldown, and casting it reduces the damage you take by 40%, also making you immune to interrupt and silence effects for the duration. The spell lasts for 8 seconds and should be used when you know there is a lot of unavoidable damage coming your way. Let's recap. Prioritize your Agony, Corruption, Seed of Corruption, and Unstable Affliction to make use of your Mastery, and fill time when not casting these spells with Drain Life. Be aware of when to use your Demonic Gateway. Use your greater demon summons, Doomguard for single target and Infernal for AoE, as much as possible throughout an encounter. Plan out who you will be soulstoning before a fight begins, unless you're comfortable casting it in the middle of combat. Finally, use your unending resolve during times of unavoidable heavy damage to keep yourself alive. Follow these rules and you'll be one step closer to mastering Affliction. That's all I have for the advanced combat overview for the Affliction Warlock in Legion. Hopefully this video has helped you to expand your knowledge of the spellbook in some way or another. Of course, if you have any questions regarding Affliction or anything about Legion, ask away in the comments below or on Twitter at @TheLoranzas. Also, don't forget to subscribe to keep an eye out for the third installment to the Affliction Warlock series covering talents. Thanks for watching, and as always, have fun.